Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with a Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza.
It slices, it dices, it's your host, SteelFlyers.
Thank you, that is a delightful co-host, RoNece. And on the show this week, we're talking all things NHL Conference Finals.
A wet and rainy Monaco Grand Prix saw a first-time winner.
The Steelers and OTAs and minicamps. We got you all covered on the show this week, and thank you all for joining and checking us out and hopping on and taking a listen. We really appreciate that. Really appreciate everybody's listens and comments and everything as well, too. So please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you all very much. Would also like to big shout out to Spreaker. Thank you, Spreaker, for all the great, wonderful services you provide. The fact that we get to put this out on Spreaker, and then Spreaker puts it out on all the great, wonderful platforms like iHeart and Apple and Google and Spotify, and we're out there on all the platforms, exactly. So all you have to do is go to your platform, type in SteelFlyers, and our latest episodes will come up, and you just share them and like them and join that, and that'll be great, and we'd really appreciate that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So
what have we learned about NHL brackets this week?
Toss them out the window?
Yeah, because I honestly don't think
the whole Eastern Conference isn't even any team that I picked.
I know, and I don't think a lot of people picked.
No.
I think there have been some surprises.
Oh, right. Let's just, yeah. But I want to first talk about the game that's already happened, and that was the Colorado Edmonton game. That was game one last night in Colorado. And we're talking about the Western Conference Finals here, so the winner of this game represents the West and moves on to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I have to tell you something, folks. First of all, you got to go check out Off the Wall Hockey on YouTube. That's John from Off the Wall Hockey on YouTube. Got to go check him out because he calls the games, and he is the GOAT. That's right. We call him the greatest of all time because this guy just has that going on, calling games, and
he's great. He really love listening to him.
I turn everybody off except for, of course, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right, because Jimmy, to me, is just... he's my mentor.
Jim Jackson.
Jim Jackson, of course. He's my mentor. He's the man. But I got to tell you something, though. When it comes to play-by-play, Jim and John, to me, I turn everybody else off and I listen to them guys.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't listen to anybody else. You know
what
I mean? And so, very lucky for that. Also, be checking this out, too. On Friday, SteelFlyers All Sports Network will be sponsoring Game 2 of the Colorado Edmonton game on Friday night. Oh, snap!
For the Off the Wall Hockey show.
No, this is just I'm gonna SteelFlyers All Sports Network is just gonna sponsor Off the Wall Hockey, and he's gonna run his thing and
call the game
and yours truly gets to sit in for color.
All right.
And analysis.
Awesome.
Right? And, so you guys got to check that out as well, too. That'll be Friday at 8 o'clock.
Awesome.
John and I will be live as well for that, so you got to be checking that out. And SteelFlyers All Sports Network will be sponsoring John for that game, so you got to be checking that out, indeed. So, but let's talk about Game 1 that happened last night.
The irony of that game was, I think, when I heard Wayne Gretzky, a great one, say, yeah, you really should be focusing on some defense.
I mean, by the way, just to make a correction, the game on Friday will be Game 2 between Tampa Bay and New York.
Ah, okay.
Okay, because Game 2 from Colorado and Edmonton is going to be tomorrow, which is going to be Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, so we're doing the sponsoring the game on Friday. So that'll be the Tampa Bay New York Rangers Game 2.
Okay.
Just want to make that correction. So anyway, so continue. You were talking about the great one coming out and saying what?
You should really be focusing on some defense. Stopping the other team from scoring. Not just letting them go down and score, and then you go down and score, and then you go down and score, and they go down and score, and everybody scores.
Yeah.
Here's one for you, and one for you, and 5 for you, and 1 for her, and I mean, come on.
I have to tell you something. I have been very much impressed with the fact that we get to listen to Wayne Gretzky talk about the fact that he is, quote unquote, one of the most offensive player to ever live, quote unquote, from the great one's mouth itself, right? And he said, yeah, you guys might want to play a little bit more defense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what a game. Okay, look. If that is what Bateman and the new quote-unquote NHL wanted, well, boy, howdy, you got it.
Right.
Right? Because they dropped a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on each goalie. Okay?
Right.
And speaking of goalies, okay, so the Darcy Kempur goes down with what appeared to be, I thought, or everybody else thought, was an equipment issue, and then came back out onto the ice and played for another minute or 6 or whatever, and then left the game again, and everybody was like, oh, that's another equipment, you have an equipment, and he didn't come back out on the second period, he didn't come back out, right, and then he was listed as questionable for return. Or doubtful for return to come back, right? And then he was ruled out by the end of the third period. He was like, yeah, he's not coming back. So we're like, okay. So it was obviously a little bit more than equipment going on there for Mr. Kempur. And so that meant that backup goaltender had to come in.
Gotcha.
And
that was part of the problem.
Well, for Colorado.
Okay.
And then Smith, who's... I think he's one of the oldest players playing in the league right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, man, Colorado just hung a touchdown on him.
Yeah.
6 points, 6 goals.
That's football scores.
Within very few shots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, I'm also going to say this, too. Colorado was coming out gunning. I mean, they just peppered multiple, they had a lot of shots on goal. A lot of them were blocked and missed or whatever, but they had a lot of attempts on goal. Okay, let's just put it to you that way, right? And how could you disagree with the great one?
I know.
There was like, everybody was just skating around to score. Nobody cared about not stopping anybody.
Right.
And it was like, oh yeah? Well, so you're going to score on a 2-on-1. Well, we'll score on a 3-on-2. Or, oh yeah? Well, we'll score one from the point. Oh yeah? Well, we'll score one on the power play. Oh yeah? Well, we'll score one. I mean, we'll score 3 goals fastest in, Eastern or Western Conference Finals in a long time.
Right.
I mean, come on. So the fact that both number 1 goalies didn't even see the light of the second period, I mean, that I think is going to be not just a story for Game 1, but I think moving forward, because if Kempur is going to be down for long, and right now he's in evaluation process where, from what I've been hearing and reading and seeing, is he might be potentially in concussion protocol.
Uh-oh.
Right,
That's not good.
Right, which potentially means he might have to miss a game or whatever, you know what I mean? And so we'll have to see how that plays out.
I mean, that would be a big loss for them, correct?
That they traded number 1 picks for him. He was their number 1 goaltender. I mean, he's supposed to be the man.
Right.
And, when he's in, he plays really well. And, I mean, look where they are. I mean, here they are in the Western Conference Final. So, and he's one of the reasons why they got there, and they got rid of, a goaltender that they sent up to Seattle, Grubauer.
Whoops.
Well, but it didn't matter because the next guy slotted right in, and hey, look at that. I mean, Colorado normally has a pretty good defense.
All right. So let me ask you a question about the game last night.
I'll try to answer it as best I can.
If I remember correctly, there was some unhappiness about the game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there was some unhappiness in that game, and a lot of now the great Pearl of Wisdom and also the great Peyton on the radio are resident Oiler experts, fans, and fellow compatriots. But I believe even Perlo agreed that because of the way the rules are, was that it was that knowing what the rules were, he wasn't surprised that the call was made the way it was made.
Okay.
And I knew what the rules were as well, knowing full well that, yeah, there's that leeway. And if your puck, if your stick's not exactly on the puck and you're carrying it, it's like that thing in basketball where the guys go in and make a layup. Mm-hmm. Well, you're only allowed to get 1.5 steps, if that, I think, is the rule, right? You're not allowed to take a whole, you can't. You have to dribble the ball all the way up until 1.5 steps before you try to make the shot.
Right.
Right? Well, okay, same thing.
Right.
So, the rule is the rule is. And unfortunately for Edmonton, unfortunately for Colorado, that's how the rule's written. Hey, look, it may be dumb.
Okay.
It may be ridiculous. It may be so far out of whack or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's what's in the books.
So do you think that will be something people are like, oh, we would have won that game, but that play went against us? Or
you know what?
Did it not matter after a while?
See, that's just it. I don't really think... Okay, I could be wrong here, but maybe not. I don't really think it would have mattered, to be honest with you. I just don't think it would have. I still think that Colorado would have won that game because the final score was 8-6.
Right.
So even if you take away that goal, it's still 7-6. They still win the game.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, it might have been like an iffy call, but at the end of the game, it really didn't matter, did it?
Which is kind of why I kind of think why we're not really seeing a lot of like steam over it, because it really, in the end,
it's not like somebody caught a football in the touch and should have gotten a touchdown, but was deemed that he was down even though he wasn't, and it really was a touchdown.
And it wasn't a touchdown. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're not bitter or have long memories, and that we follow the guy that still says that he caught it. Anyway, shout out to him anyway. But so yeah, Colorado Edmonton. That's going to be an amazing series because, for one, Edmonton, I think, is getting... They got really lucky to get past Calgary, because Calgary just wasn't playing their game. And it sure looks like Colorado's coming to play.
Yeah. You think Edmonton's going to bounce back?
All right. Draisaitl and McDavid are both on point scoring streaks that they were still able to carry through in Game 1. And it didn't matter!
Okay.
that's what has won them games this year.
Okay.
Is that they've just been able to say, well, oh yeah? Well, we got McDavid and Draisaitl. What do you got?
Yeah.
And they just, score up and down and bing, bada, bing. Right? They still each got their points, goals, and scores, assists, and whatever, but it just
wasn't enough.
It just wasn't enough because, and I think that's what's going to eventually is where you're going to see Colorado take it to the fore because they're deeper. They have more depth on their team. They have more guys on the team that, okay, they don't have a guy, say, I don't know. I don't know if you can put McKinnon or Makar or any of those guys in the same breath as McDavid.
Okay.
Right, but two of those guys equals one of those guys. And then Colorado's like, oh yeah, so you got McDavid and Draisaitl. Well, we got Makar, Kadri.
They got more weapons, is what you're saying.
McKinnon, Landeskog. I mean, what? You just rattle them off. Right? And yeah, exactly. Way more guys on the team that are really good high contributors playing at a high level as to why Colorado is to where they are as well, too. So, I mean, when you look at Edmonton, I don't know if they can... I don't know if they can come back from that, especially the fact that they chased Smith. It wasn't that he got hurt or anything like that.
They just chased him.
They just chased him. And now, but that's going to be the thing now. If Kempur is going to be hurt long term, how is that going to affect Colorado? Because he did let in...
I mean, the score was what? What was the score again?
He did let in 5 goals.
I mean...
So, he still let in 5 goals.
So let's talk about the East and how that's going.
Game 1 of the East is probably going to be dropping the puck here in a little bit at Eastern Standard Time. And that's Tampa Bay Lightning going against the higher seed New York Rangers. So this is the first time that there's going to be a Eastern Conference Finals in Madison Square Garden, New York, with the Rangers playing against Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Yeah. Rangers are the higher seed. So they have home ice advantage.
How are they the higher seed above Tampa Bay?
Isn't that scary?
Yeah.
They finished higher in the division than Tampa Bay did. That makes them the higher seed. Yeah, they won more games and lost less games. Yeah, that's... Okay, look. We've seen over the last 2 days, we've seen some of the most perfect memes going for these that describes the current hockey playoffs. Because in one series, you have Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yep.
Right? And then in the other series, you got 2 guys that sometimes they stop the puck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stand there, I watch the puck, sometimes I stop it, sometimes I don't,
I mean, right. Okay. I mean, I'm not...
difference in intensity there.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, you got Vasilevsky going up against Shesterkin, and, I mean, can you just get the 2 best goalies in the league right now?
Do you think that's going to be a really... You think that's going to go 7 games? Or do you think that one of them will pull it out ahead?
Well, I'll tell you what. If Colorado does another game like they did on game 1, I don't think Edmonton's going to be able to come back from that.
No, we're talking about Tampa Bay and the Rangers.
I know.
Okay,
but,
I got confused.
Right, no, but I think if Colorado has another game like that, I think you'll see a sweep. I don't think Tampa Bay and New York is going to be short. I think it's going to be long and drawn out and ugly, and there's going to be some hitting, and there's going to be some bad blood, and there's going to be some... I mean, these 2 teams have played in the regular season already, and Tampa Bay, believe it or not, is 0-2-1.
To the Rangers.
To the Rangers this year. So, yeah, that's not boding well for the defending champs. But this is not regular season now.
No.
We're in playoff mode.
Right. Different intensity.
And Tampa Bay's had 9 days.
Yeah, what about that? Do you think that's beneficial? Do you think that's too long to be out and they've gotten a little too relaxed?
I think for Tampa Bay this year, I think that's going to be a good thing for them. Yeah, they probably would have liked a shorter amount of time in between. You know what I mean? But 9 days regardless.
Right.
I think that's going to give them an opportunity to potentially get Brandon Point back. And that is going to be a huge help for them to get him back, because that's just another level of scoring for them that they're going to need against them Rangers. I mean, Rangers is putting up a pretty dang good team.
Well, you were sure Carolina was going to win, so the series, and they just didn't.
What's really messed up is that none of the away teams won except for the Rangers on Game 7. Every home team won, but nobody could win on the road. And, everybody was right. And the first home team that wins is going to win the series. Well, yeah, it was either going to be Game 6 or Game 7.
Right.
So, Game 7 it was. I'm not surprised that the Rangers are where they are after seeing how they've gone through the playoffs. I'm surprised at where they are now based off of where they ended last year. Because I thought they were going to be better. I just didn't think it was going to be. But they've been building this team now.
Yeah, I mean, they've put some effort in.
For the last couple of years here now. And you got a team now that's... this is a pretty solid team. I mean, Adam Fox, has won the award for Best Defenseman. Okay, so... And you had Kreider, who put up 50 goals this year. Okay, right? And you had New York, who almost won the division.
Right.
So, not to mention the fact...
Were there any words in there?
No, there was no words in there, but you also had an MVP goalie in Shesterkin. But,
I just have to laugh because the goalie names are so... They're just such great names. They're such great hockey names. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah. Igor Shesterkin. Like, that name just doesn't roll off, does it?
No.
No. And Andrei Vasilevsky. That sounds like an operation,
No.
Yeah, I'm having a Vasilevsky,
It's so much better than, like... Joe Smith. I don't know. It's just... It's got personality in that name. There's nothing wrong with Joe Smith. I'm sorry.
No, but Smith from Edmonton, his first name isn't Joe, but... Yeah, we got a Smith.
It makes you feel more excited when you see those big, nice, long, chunky names.
All right. And if you say so, look, we're getting... the best of the best of the best of the best.
Right, sir.
Sir, here in this. Because let's face it, these are the 4 top teams in the league that are going after it, and the eventual winners are going to be playing for the Chalice.
Right.
So...
Has this been a really... Do you feel like this has been a really good playoff season?
I think it's been amazing. I think that this has been some of the best playoff hockey that I've been able to witness in a really long time. And I'm saying that even though my team has not even had a sniff for many years. So, look, we're talking about potentially the fact, look, New York Rangers beat Carolina in 7 games to get to the conference finals, and Tampa Bay potentially can three-peat.
Yeah. There's some there's been some excitement and some drama and
some rarefied air going on. I don't think you're going to see Gretzky say about the Tampa Bay New York Ranger game that they need to play more defense.
Yeah.
I don't think Gretz is going to have that problem in this game at all. No, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
So, the last Big Four team, of the NFL, NBA, hockey, and baseball, the last team that won a three-peat out of all those organizations was the Lakers. And there's never been an NFL...
Wait. Really? The Lakers?
The Lakers.
See, I thought that New England did it, but I guess they didn't. I thought New England did. I guess they didn't.
No, they didn't. So this could be,
wow, the Lakers did it. That was the Kobe years?
I didn't get the year.
That had to have been the Kobe years.
I don't know.
Well, yeah. What do you mean?
Well, there's been no four-peats. Hold on here.
No, but I mean, that had to have been...
Let's see. They won... The Lakers finally achieved a three-peat, winning the NBA title in 2000, 2001, and 2002. So, that's when they did it.
So, I'm pretty sure that was...
I don't follow it enough to know.
I'm pretty sure that was Kobe Bryant's years.
Okay, we'll look it up. But nobody's done it in the NFL.
Has won 3 in a row.
Correct.
No,
So, there's room for improvement for the Steelers. What do you think?
Well, not this year. No, but I mean, there's no way, they're not going to be able to three-peat.
No, obviously, but, I think it would be harder in the NFL because teams change so much from year to year because of, free agency and trades and drafts. And, I think to get a team to three-peat, you really have to have that really strong base of players that's going to support your team no matter who comes in or who goes out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up and see if, when he played, he was drafted in 96. So he was part of the three-peat.
Okay.
Yep. I was right on that one.
You were right, and Google confirmed.
Well, Wikipedia did, but the NBA or the actually it's the Kobe Bryant Wikipedia page, so thank you for that. But yeah, that's okay. So the Lakers were the last of the four majors to three-peat.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So for Tampa Bay to potentially pull that off would be quite amazing.
Yes, it would.
I would have to say.
Because it doesn't happen very often in anything.
I mean, period.
Right.
Okay. And I really think that Tampa Bay has a good shot.
Yep.
I really do. I really think that Tampa Bay, with Vasilevsky, if Brandon Point can come back and play well and be healthy and everything like that, I really think Tampa Bay has a shot because, man, they get to the playoffs and they just flip that switch and they're just...
Yeah.
I mean, they're all a complete different team when they're in the playoffs, and they've completely shown that because I thought for sure that Toronto was going to beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I really was kind of hoping they did.
And they didn't.
They didn't because I thought, even though I picked Florida, but I pretty much felt that Tampa Bay would be able to go through Florida as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just didn't want that matchup to happen. That's why I was rooting for Toronto. thinking that it would help Florida get, because if Florida was playing Toronto, I think we'd be talking about Florida right now instead of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's so much for my bracket. I still got one team in it.
You got the Avalanche.
I got the Lanch, man. I got the Avs, boy. Let's go. And boy, did they explode last evening. They were just like, what? They came like, they were like, okay, you want to run and gun? We can run and gun.
Right.
So let's quickly touch on some other things.
Well, let's do this.
Because there's no team that's three-peated, not even in all the majors, but there has been one of our teams has 6.
Right.
We didn't three-peat, but the Steelers definitely have 6.
We're one of the few teams that do.
I mean, what? Okay, so that's a pretty good segue, right? What do you think?
All right.
Cool. Okay. So speaking of the Steelers...
Really?
Yeah, did you know there was an announcement today?
Yeah. Very sad.
Sad.
Well, not sad, but...
Well, sad that we don't get to enjoy this guy, ripping it up on Sundays anymore.
Right.
Sad in that aspect.
Happy for him. He's moving, he's got a life to lead,
Whatever, right. So, Stephon Tuitt announced his retirement from the Pittsburgh Steelers, effective immediately. And so his $9.05 million comes off the books immediately as of June 1st. I think.
Do you think the Steelers have a plan to replace him, or are they just going to go with who they have?
Well, they better do something, because now they got a little bit of bucks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Is there somebody that we could bring in?
I don't know. They say they're looking at some players right now as far as pass rushers, but I think that maybe they may have drafted some guys, and I think you're going to see some players stepping up again even more so this year. I'm expecting big year from Alex Highsmith.
That's what I've read. A couple of people are like, he could have a really breakout year.
Because he's going to play a more prominent role, in the defense now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's about dang time! Because ever since this guy was drafted, okay, now I've been all over him since he was drafted, okay? And by the way, shout out to the Highsmith Foundation, man. You got to go check that out. The Alex Highsmith Foundation. Go check that out and be a part of a good organization that's trying to help out the community. So check that out, man. That's the Highsmith Foundation. I believe it's highsmithfoundation.org, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but go check them out. But I'm really expecting to see him have a much improved year this year. We'll see how Devin Bush goes. He's coming back from major knee injury last year.
Yeah, wasn't he hurt the year before that?
Yeah, at the end of the year, he had his ACL, And so I really think that last year, look, you're just not the same player once you have an ACL, and it takes a while to come back from something like that. I don't care who you are, unless you're Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Or unless you're Rod Woodson.
Okay.
Neither one of them guys is Adrian Peterson or Rod Woodson, are they?
No.
So it's going to take him another, okay, this season might be better, might be back to where you were, or whatever.
If you don't get hurt.
But, so, last show we announced that Omar Khan was announced as the general manager, and Andy Weidel from Philadelphia was announced as assistant general manager.
Okay.
For the Steelers. This coming for this coming campaign or whatever you want to call it. So okay, we got rookie camps, mini camps, OTAs.
Who showed up today?
Our are running through till the end of the weekend. I think until next Wednesday or Thursday. Excuse me, whatever the 7th or 8th or 9th is, whatever that date.
7th is Wednesday.
Okay, there you go. So
I think
sometime next week. And
does anybody really know what day it is?
No, nobody knows what day it is. But Dante Johnson showed up and for mini camps. And these are what they call mandatory mini camps, so you have to be there, or you get docked, or whatever the case is, unless you're dealing with injuries, or unless you're not signed, or whatever the case is.
But he was there?
He was there, practicing along with his teammates, so that's a good sign. Hopefully Pittsburgh will be able to get him signed.
They got money now.
Well, they got money that disappeared now off the books, so we'll see how things happen here with the way things go. But they have announced that he will be available to speak to the media next week.
Okay.
Dante Johnson will be available to the media next week. So we'll...
Why do they have to wait a week?
Well, I think this is his first time back into camp, and I have no idea.
Okay.
They're allowed to do whatever they want to do, I guess, so it doesn't really matter, right?
I know. I just thought maybe there was a reason they wanted to wait.
Yeah, so that maybe some of this hoopla can calm down, and maybe by then they can sign him to a contract, and then they can talk about how, they're behind him and how they want to keep him here as a Steeler and blah, 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 instead of, yeah, well, I'm just here so I don't get fined, and you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Right? So that's, who knows? I mean, I'm just speculating here on that. You know what I mean? That's. I just want to put that out there, but at least he's out there for the mini camp, and at least he's participating. So that's good on his part to see him out there. So that's always good to see.
Yep. Saw a good video, little clip today.
Of him catching balls?
No, of our Pickett, our draftee.
Quarterback, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm trying to learn people's names. And Cam Hayward's sitting there looking at him going, yeah, what's my name? He didn't even notice he was like right there.
Oh, yeah, I was standing right there next to him. I was like, oh, you're Cam. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. He's the guy sitting next to you in your locker. Yeah, you can't forget that guy. Okay, right. Yeah, I guess not. Speaking of our number 1 draft pick, Kenny Pickett, he was listed as 3rd on the depth chart currently right now.
Okay.
With Mr. Mitchell Trubisky being le numero uno.
You just spoke 3 different languages in one sentence. Did you know that?
Isn't that sick?
That was just wrong.
Right? And that was all me. And Mason Rudolph was number 2.
Yeah. I'm so excited about that.
I mean, all right, whatever. And they don't even talk about the other guy. Like, what's his name again?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think his first name is Chris. Olan Duck or Duke or something like that. But from South Dakota State. The 4th arm in camp. So, okay. So Steelers looking good in shells.
It'll be interesting this year because we don't have Ben. I mean, it's the first time in how long?
Yeah, but I think our defense... I'm going to be very interested to see how this defense comes together.
Okay.
Yeah. Very interested to see how this defense comes together. Returning Defensive Player of the Year, T.J. Watt. I mean...
Let's keep him healthy.
I mean, and you got Minka.
Right.
Right, and you got and Edmonds is re-signed for 1 more year. Right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, at least you got 1 more year more out of him.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So we got some talent back there.
So some talent is back there. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how that goes now because the defensive line still is kind of thin. And it just got thinner because Tua just retired. Now, Oahu is looking like he's looking good and working out and all that, and that's all fine and great, but that's... And Laudermilk's coming back for his second year. You know what I mean? And so that's only 3 guys! So, and they drafted a guy in the draft this past year in their 3rd round, 4th round pick who could potentially be that tweener guy, that defensive end / linebacker.
Gotcha.
You know, so.
So, should we avoid the elephant in the room, or do you want to talk about the Flyers?
All right, let's do it. Let's get into it.
I mean, there's not much news. I mean, we still don't have a coach. And the draft is, 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
And we don't have a coach.
Yeah.
So what good is it going to do if you don't hire a coach before the draft so he can pick players that he wants on his team?
All right, the elephant in the room. Okay, so... This is just going to prove how... Maybe this gives you some insight as to what's going on to the Flyers organization and what my opinion is about this organization. The great writer extraordinaire Lance Green posted an article this morning on the website and on FlyersNittyGritty.com website, and explaining why are the Flyers waiting to sign McLennan to an ELC contract. Like, why are you waiting? What are you doing? What's going on? Come on, sign this kid.
And then the Flyers turn around and release him.
Sort of, or whatever.
They're just not signing him.
Right. They're not going to offer him an ACL, which is an entry-level contract. Now, thank you, Lance, for that great article, who, by the way, is the host of the great Hockey Writers Inc. on the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, which you have to check that out for sure. But Lance points out that, you know, this young player who's going to be 20 here real soon, which makes him eligible to play for the Phantoms, would be at least worthy of an entry-level contract. Yes, he's 5'8". He's not the quote-unquote best skater, but, man, he's exactly what this team needs as far as a sharpshooter, a guy that knows how to put the puck in the back of the net. Okay? And was able to even out-goal score Savoy.
Really?
By 8 goals.
Wow.
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
Now, Savoy's going to probably go in the top of the draft this year. Okay, one of the... Probably not going to be able to come to the Flyers, but hey, you know, we can dream.
Right.
But you get what I'm saying, though. Okay,
right.
So... All right. The fact that they didn't sign him. And then they came out and said that they made some bona fide offers to these other players who were like, huh?
Is that odd for them to say bona fide?
Yes! Where did that language come from? Who's writing this garbage? I'm sorry. You know, look, how... I made a comment on Twitter. Why would anybody want to come and sign with this team? They have no coach, no direction, right?
No plan, it seems like.
No plan, and they don't seem to be in any hurry. Right? Here we are. You know, we're 22-ish days away from the draft. And there hasn't been a new coach to step into the building yet. You know what I saw today?
What?
I saw Gritty and the mascot for the Sixers and the mascot for...
The Philadelphia Fanatic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smashing the walls in the club box areas at Wells Fargo Center today.
Oh, they're building new club box seats.
Yeah. They're building new club box seats.
Well, that's fantastic.
Okay. So...
At least they have some priorities.
I mean...
Well, that might not be the team deciding that. That might be just, the Wells Fargo Center. That might be some other people in charge of that. But it's kind of ironic they're building new club box seats for a team that has no coach, has no direction, and has no plan.
And has no guy to hang on a banner on the side of the building any longer, because he's now probably going to sign for somebody else.
I wouldn't blame him. He's been very kind of not vocal about it, but he has made some comments about how much happier he is on a team that actually wants to win games.
It's kind of funny, like, when you it's like that, what do they call that, the Bill Belichick and the New England Way syndrome, where, okay, you're winning championships and everything, but there's such a regiment and such a way of things that you need to sometimes just step out of that just to see how things go. Well, it would have been one thing if Giroux was winning championships, but 15 years he just wasted in Philadelphia, and it's like, hey, man, I want to go somewhere where they want to talk about winning and
have a consistent wins.
Whatever, you know what I mean? And he's been vocal about it, and I don't blame him. I do not blame him, because, to be honest with you, Claude Giroux does not owe Philadelphia nothing.
We owe him.
Philadelphia owes him big time. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I can't believe that here we are. They've had Barry Trotz they interviewed. What? And he left without a deal. Wait a minute. Yeah, Barry Trotz in the building.
It didn't just go here. Maybe they did. Maybe they offered him whatever he wanted and they couldn't give it to him.
And then you had Tortorella in the building, and Tortorella came out and said he appreciated the opportunity. He was going to leave it at that. All right. And then the coach from Vegas was available, and we haven't heard of the Flyers interviewing anybody since last we heard of them interviewing Tortorella.
Yeah, and that was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was the end of... yeah.
Or was it last week?
Yeah, that was the end of last week.
Yeah.
Right? Still, though, it's been quite a number of days now and haven't heard about the team interviewing anybody or making any decisions or announcing any coaching moves or anything.
Right.
Okay. I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, it's just... I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's the Flyers. How's that? Let's talk about something else before your head explodes.
Look, I'm just going to say this.
Uh-oh, we're still talking.
I can't believe that Chuck Fletcher still has a frickin' job. I can't believe that the people that are running the show for the Flyers are still employed. I have a hard time trying to understand what's going on with this team. They have not come out and said anything. They have not made any announcements on any coaching moves or staff or anything. All they've basically done was come out and said that they've made bona fide offers to two players. They've signed Ivan Fedotov. Now, they did sign him. Okay, but he's still not under the Flyers' roof as of yet. So until he's under the Flyers' roof, I don't care what you say you've done. Until he's there. Right. Until that's the case, then...
But you will still watch the Flyers in the fall.
Yeah.
As much as they drive you crazy.
And I'll still be there for the games, and I'll still be covering them, and I'll still be there rooting for them. And I want to see this team succeed. I want to see this team do well because I know that they have the potential. There are some key players that are in place right now. But you don't have a coach.
Right.
You don't have a system. You don't have a direction. You don't have an identity.
Right.
The one thing that really upset me was when AV came out and said, be an effing flyer. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you know what an effing flyer is, buddy?
Right.
Right? You've been with the organization for two years at that point. How do you know what one is?
Well, it's easy to point out what it isn't.
Yeah, what it isn't is being coach of the Flyers is what it isn't.
Okay.
Mr. Big Boy Pants. Well, all right. So next year for the games, if you decide to go to one,
there'll be some brand new club box seats.
There'll be some brand new club box seats there for not just the Flyers games, but hey, how about them Sixers? Because at least they're trying to win.
Yeah.
I mean, they went to the second round.
I know.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they lost to Miami.
I know.
But that's okay, though, because Miami lost to Boston, though, so it's all good. Sorry about that. Anyway.
If you're a Miami fan, we're sorry.
Yeah, right. But yeah, we were definitely rooting for them Sixers, man, because we wanted to see them Sixers do good, so... All right, well, let's get away from the Flyers, please, can we?
Yes, I've tried a couple times.
I know, I'm sorry, and I keep going. See,
I know.
You try to go out, and no matter what, and there's something that always brings you back in. So how about this? So, how about a little sarcasm here for you? What do you think?
Okay.
All right.
You sarcastic never.
Never. Ferrari had a great weekend until the actual race.
Yeah, well.
So, it was wet. It was raining in Monaco, the crown jewel of the Formula One calendar.
And you were so excited to watch this race, and it was such a mess.
It was, man. It just really was a mess. And look.
Wait, my favorite quote of the week was from Jeremy Clarkson,
yes.
who said, "I'd rather watch the cars passing by my house than this race."
Exactly. I mean, I was just gonna say, I very rarely agree with many things that I actually admit that I agree with, but I admit with Clarkson on this one that, and if you're gonna do for if you're gonna do things out of safety, then do things out of safety. You know what I mean? Like, they should have never have brought the guys out onto the track under the safety car and ran them around in the rain for them to go sit back again for another 48 minutes, right? After sitting for 20. And then they bring them out for 4 laps, and then they bring everybody in and sit for 40 minutes. If you'd have just delayed the race for another 45 minutes from the beginning, you'd have been good.
Right. Why did they... What was the point of doing 4 laps and then saying, yeah, this isn't going to work?
Right. That's what I don't understand. Wait a second. If you're going to do things for safety, like Clarkson said, then, do it for safety. Shut it all the way down. Wait till... Look. These cars have wet weather tires that pump 1.9 gallons a second away. I mean, that's how awesome these tires are. Like, they can... It doesn't take, as long as it stops raining. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's continuing to rain, then obviously the water keeps coming. But if it stops raining, it doesn't take long for a dry line to form, does it?
No, because the tires are drying the road.
Drying the road, right, because it's spraying the water out. It's moving the water off the track.
Right.
But that also means they have good grip. And so that means that these cars can run in the rain.
Right.
I mean, now, not torrential downpour to the fact where you can't even see in front of your own face. And I get it. You're at Monaco.
Right.
Monaco is probably one of the hardest of the tracks.
Was that because it's a street circuit or just because of the way it's just hard?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no runoff.
There's very little opportunity to pass.
There's very little opportunity to pass. The track is very narrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
So let's talk about what happened to Mr. Schumacher.
Well, first of all, and thankfully he's okay. He was able. I mean, those cars are designed to do that. So after a red flag and the race actually finally started and safety cars and all that, and Leclerc was on pole. Sainz was third.
And what happened?
So because of the way that the teams around Ferrari did their pit stops, they brought in Sainz first, and then they were going to double stack Leclerc and Sainz. Then they were going to call Leclerc off, but it was too late. He was already coming in.
Somebody done messed up.
So Ferrari went from 1-3 to not.
Not 1-3.
I don't get it. Get to somebody. What? Anyway. But Sainz finished on the third step of the podium.
Okay.
So.
Points is points.
Ferrari did finish third and fourth, with Red Bull finishing 1-2. But speaking of Red Bull finishing 1-2.
Yeah. Who won? We said that it was a first-time winner. Who was it?
First-time winner. How about that? Checo Perez.
There you go.
First time ever winning Red Bull at the Crown Jewel. Congratulations, Mr. Perez. And
That's awesome.
That is awesome. He had a great race. I mean, he was kind of... Here's the lead.
Well, no, but I mean, even if it was kind of like all the things and all the reasons...
He didn't pass anybody to get it.
Right, but he still got the lead and won the race. So.
Did not relinquish the lead.
Correct.
There were no such thing as team orders. And frankly, yeah, you want to get around me, you're going to have to get around me because I'm putting my elbows out, buddy. You know what I mean? So, but congratulations to Mr. Perez on winning the crown jewel, the Monaco Grand Prix. However broken it was.
Speaking of broken.
He had a good race, and so congratulations to him. Speaking of broken, so Mick Schumacher had a bit of kerfuffle again.
This time he broke his car in half.
And again. This is what these cars are made to do now.
To break in half?
Yes.
Why?
Safety and to dissipate the force of the impact. Okay, is why the cars break apart. If you notice that the whole back end just was destroyed and disintegrated and everything else like that, but the area where he sat was all like contained and he was safe and he climbed out of it.
Right.
And that's the way that goes. He didn't really...
No, I mean, the fact that he walked away from that crash is amazing.
Well, it looked worse.
You think so?
I think than what it actually was because... He was, look, don't take it, I've been in enough accidents not at 140 or so miles an hour, but I've been in enough accidents to know that when metal hits metal at any kind of speed, that's not a good thing.
Right.
Okay, and that impact that you feel is never a good thing either.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not trying to take anything away from that fact, but the fact that he was spinning and basically was a glancing blow instead of a full-on, 180 miles an hour head-on, it was a glancing blow, so that's why the car basically exploded, and he was able to get out and walk away. So thank God for the technology of today and those Formula One cars, man, because I'm here to tell you, they don't call that the pinnacle of sport for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
a lot of safety measures that started in Formula One have trickled down to the cars we drive today. I mean, it's
exactly
directly. There's a direct net contact line.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean,
so the safer those cars are, the safer our cars are.
Eventually.
Eventually.
You know what I mean? So, okay. Well, what do you think there, RoNece?
I think we did good.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Well, listen, thanks everybody for checking us out. We really appreciate you listening.
We do appreciate anybody who's listening. We really, really thank you.
Yes. Please hit the like and subscribe.
Because the more we like and subscribe, and in the comments, just let us know what you think. What would you like to hear? What would you like to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. For sure. I would like to know that too. So thank you all very much for checking out the SteelFlyers podcast. We'll be back next time to talk about all kinds of great things. Just remember, folks, stay safe, stay strong, and hang tough.